glad you are here today. I'm just gonna check, make sure everybody's muted for the intro. Okay, great. Welcome today. We are so excited to have you. It's good to see some new faces and some familiar faces. We are going to be learning about how to turn your passion into a profession with Erik Schultz. And I'm really excited to learn more about his business and just his journey as well. Before we get started, my name is Sarah McAllister. I am the Senior Associate Director for Alumni Career and Professional Development. And Nina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey y'all. My name is Nina. I'm the assistant director, and I will be all things tech today. So if you have any issues with hearing or just needed help in the chat, you can just direct message me.
Perfect. Um, okay, so someone's saying they can't hear us. Is anybody else having issues with sound? You want to drop it in the chat?
It's
Karen,
all
I'll direct message.
Okay, perfect. All right, so it is being recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel, which has over 75 other recordings of past PDS sessions. So if you're not familiar with our YouTube channel, we'd love for you to check it out. Nina will drop it into the chat as well as follow up with an email. While we are just getting started, I'd love for all of you to introduce yourselves in the chat and let us know where you are joining from. It's always fun just to see where everybody is. We will have time for Q&A at the end, but if you have something on your mind, feel free to put it in the chat while Erik is walking us through the presentation today, and then we'll be able to get to that at the end. So I think that is it. Thanks for introducing yourselves in the chat. And I'm going to pass it over to Erik. Thank you so much for being here. And we're really excited to just learn from you today. So if you want to take it away.
awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Erik Schultz. I'm born and raised in Delaware County, right around South Philadelphia, and I moved over to New Orleans bound in 2018, and I really haven't left since. Tulane has been an incredible experience here, and I'm really honored to be presenting and to share some of my journey with y'all. So without further ado, I'm going to attempt to share my screen properly. This always is a fun task. There we go. All right. So I'm hoping that the screen will change slides during this, and just let me know if it's not doing that. So we're on the first slide here, Turning Your Passion into Profit by Erik Schultz. We're pretty much breaking it into 5 parts, keeping it short and simple. We're gonna have our introduction and personal journey into our entrepreneurial journey, talk about Tulane's influence in networking, then go into a step-by-step how to turn your passion into profit, and then a conclusion and interaction. So Sarah, did the slide just change? I just want to check. I did go to slide 2.
It did not change.
Did not, yeah.
Okie dokie. This is fantastic feedback. I appreciate it. There we go.
There we
So
go.
it's who you know. Perfect. It's who you know. How Tulane's alumni network ignited my entrepreneurial journey. This is the power of contacts. It's not always what you know, but also who you know. So to kind of keep it simple, ooh, this is going to be tricky going back and forth with these 2 windows. To keep it simple here, we have a too long didn't read. So this is the short and sweet. Tulane provided me with education, allies, and network. When it comes to education, Tulane provided me with the foundation to understand business dynamics and identify market trends. Within the community, I was offered a network of allies and friends for support and expansion, which didn't just entail people within Tulane, but also further out in the New Orleans community. I was given the motivation through Tulane and inspired by the drive that I've seen through my professors and through my colleagues to contribute positively and help others. And in terms of networking, Tulane has opened doors to a superior network, paving the way for an innovative company. So we'll go to the next one. Turning your passion into profit. Step 1, finding your passion. So discovering your, ooh, this skipped 2 slides. Perfect. I just want to make sure it's loading on your end. So Nina, I just shared that with you. And I might not even worry about the presentation. I might just chat with y'all because that's
Yeah,
good
right.
enough. So we're talking about turning your passion into profit. Step one, finding your passion. So honestly, exactly what's going on right now. Everything's going kind of haywire, and plans don't always work out. And as one of my former professors, Lee Gary, always said, remain ad hoc. Ad hoc is it's a Latin phrase, and it pretty much means for this specific purpose. But in business, it's kind of used as an improvised or impromptu approach to doing something, often in response to a changing or unpredictable situation. So on this personal discovery, uh, discovering your passions starts with ditching what you don't like. So like many others, I was nudged towards a very typical path, exploring various interests in high schools, chased my dreams in college, and aimed for a six-figure salary. And I followed this route, got it all wrong, and I ended up where I am here today. And the constant thing in my life has been trying new things, meeting new people, and making choices based on my previous experiences. So back in 2017, I started college at a small liberal arts school in Ohio, studying neuroscience and playing NCAA lacrosse. By the fall of 2018, I began a new chapter at Tulane University studying economics. Before you can empower others, you must empower yourself. So taking that leap and making the pivotal, difficult switch from schools as a freshman, that gave me a sense of empowerment. And Tulane was a perfect breeding ground for this new empowered young man that I was becoming. Thank you, Nina. So this next slide is about pretty much figuring out your passions and your dislikes. So circling back, I like to start with create a list of things you do and you don't like. For me, I don't like being in a cubicle environment. I don't like wearing a suit 24/7. Don't like not having a voice in decisions, but I love autonomy, problem solving, dealing with different people and different situations. For me, it's all about having self-awareness with what you do and don't like, and that's the only way you can start identifying your passions. So this next slide is talking about Tulane University and how they influenced some personal discovery on my passions. So Tulane's motto, I'm not going to butcher it in Latin, but in English, it's not for oneself, for one's own. And this is an extremely engaging, exciting motto that has some truly deep meanings. And Tulane demonstrates this motto and ingrains it within each student through its community service engagements, which force the majority out-of-state students like myself to intertwine and comprehend the local community, whether that's through TIDES courses or through other service learning. We're always out in the community. One of the things that really drew me to the school that I thought was super interesting, I was looking at all the US news and the Princeton Review, it said that Tulane was #1. And I really got to experience that once I was on campus. I was doing a little background research before this presentation, and it said that Tulane students have completed close to 3 million hours of community service engagements in New Orleans and other parts of the world over the past 16 years. And it's truly evident, and they really push that through their students. So why am I talking about Tulane's community service? Well, it kind of pushed me into getting more connected into the student population and into the local population, which we'll see on the next slide. So I settled into my new major of economics at Tulane University, and I found myself drawn to leadership roles on campus. I led various organizations and became deeply connected within the community. This is where I discovered my passion for leadership and entrepreneurship. I was voted captain and president of the Tulane lacrosse team, and I was reached out by a local parent in the community who wanted to start a lacrosse team at Lusher High School. And until then, there was no public school lacrosse in New Orleans. Together, Sean Toomey and I founded the first public school lacrosse program in New Orleans, and afterwards, I took it a step further and set up a nonprofit called NOLA, the New Orleans Lacrosse Association. And the aim of this nonprofit was simple: to promote equal access to equipment and resources for the youth of our city. And this experience has showed me the power of leadership and its impact on the community. So this next slide is kind of starting into the lore of entrepreneurship and how I really became an entrepreneur. Back in 2020, right in the heart of COVID, I was laid off from my summer job that I've been doing since 2017. You can see that middle. I was an ocean rescue officer for the state of Delaware, but then we got that X over it because COVID came around, and I needed money to pay for my AC bill because I lived in one of those large 7-person houses on Broadway Street, but all my 6 other roommates were quarantining at their family's home. So I called up my dad. I think my dad might even be on this call. I called him up and I asked him for some money so I could pay for my AC bill. And he told me, I distinctly remember I was sweating, and he says, "You should go get a job." And then he hung up. And I was sitting there like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? How do I get a job during COVID? So I called my mom. My mom was like, "Oh, honey, you should get on unemployment. And that's going to take 4 weeks." So I'm sitting there. It's 87 degrees inside this house, and I had to figure out another way. So we go to the next slide. And this was inadvertently my first experience utilizing the Tulane. So I hopped on the ever so popular classifieds Facebook group, and I posted my pitch, which could be summarized as follows. Nice college-age young man who was looking to help around the community any way I can to make some money to pay my AC bill. And we'll go to the next slide. And the post absolutely took off. It amassed over 100 comments, including community members looking for help painting walls in their house, or dog walking, or putting together IKEA furniture, changing toilet seats, fixing fences, and I was lifeguarding at a local summer camp. And of all the connections I made from that post, I met a man named Robbie who offered me $15 an hour to help him move his sister out of her new apartment. After a grueling 7-hour workday, he handed me $135 in cash, which was enough for me to pay my AC bill, and I was overjoyed. And a few days later, he asked if I could help move her neighbor. So we did a great job, and we did it. Again, I made a solid chunk of change, and I found out right then and there that I really liked moving. Who would have thought? I went to Tulane University, I went to college, and discovered I liked moving, but it checked all the boxes. I had autonomy. I didn't need to wear a suit. I had flexible work hours, new challenges and people, every job, and I could help others within the community. I asked Robbie if he'd be interested in starting a company together, since he's had over 20 years experience of moving, and we got along very well. The first thing he said was, "What would we call this company?" And it's probably where I should mention that Robbie's about 6'7", and I'm about a foot shorter at 5'7", and he was looking down, and I looked up and I said, "Well, you're big and I'm small. We can move things of any size, so why don't we call it Big and Small Moving Company?" And that right there was the start to my entrepreneurial career, which would never have happened without that sense of community that New Orleans and Tulane University fosters so dearly. We'll hop on that next page. And that was actually that was our logo for Big and Small Moving Company. And we can stay right where we're at the Delete Innovate. So Tulane taught me this sense of community connection through the community service, and it showed me the importance of innovation by maintaining a sense of normalcy through the COVID-19 pandemic, by innovating and adapting quickly through a multitude of changes. So Tulane University has been a great source of inspiration because, unlike many other schools during the pandemic, we didn't opt for a fully online approach, and instead it quickly responded to the pandemic by implementing a multitude of measures. They set up temporary ventilated classrooms. They conducted tens of thousands of tests and innovated their day-to-day operations to keep everyone safe. So Tulane's ability to adapt quickly and respond effectively serves as a reminder not to wait and innovate. And I took that and transferred it to my own business, and which would be the next slide. Tulane University's innovative response to the COVID-19 pandemic really inspired me to adopt this approach to my own ventures. After founding a moving company, I transitioned into an adjacent labor-intensive industry of pressure washing, where I successfully ran 2 companies to master the intricacies of residential and commercial cleaning. This experience, coupled with my drive, somebody specializing in the use of using drones for mid-rise building cleaning. Now, as I'm reflecting on my journey, I'm eager to highlight the instrumental role that Tulane Network and Tulane University has shared within my success. So this next slide is a drone company being born. Having steadily cleaned buildings and houses, I knew it was time, and I believe that's a video if we'd like to click on that. Perfect. I knew it was time to elevate my efforts to the next level. And in early 2023, I reached out to the facility director at Tulane University and secured an in-person meeting with the VP of Facilities. This meeting was a resounding success, resulting in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was asked to use our drone to clean the brand new Tulane Commons. I'm not sure if that video plays or not, but it's showing the drone spraying all of the windows down, putting soap and then deionized water all around this Tulane Commons. This experience was an absolute game changer, and this propelled Liberty Drones into the spotlight and really helped jumpstart my career. The Tulane Facility Department played a crucial role in my success, guiding me down the path of commercial contracting and imparting knowledge that would typically take decades to acquire in the industry. Beautiful. And we can hit that next slide whenever you are ready. During this time while I was cleaning Tulane and getting more involved within the facility department, I also connected with my good friend and classmate, Frederick Bell, who recommended that I speak with Lori Herberts from the Tulane Alumni Association. And he actually helped arrange a meeting for us to discuss how the Tulane Network could support my goals. From there, I engaged with a multitude of professors and advisors, a privilege uniquely provided by the Tulane Network. Most notably, my former professor, Lee Gary, was instrumental in my success by co-sponsoring research presentations. This collaboration expanded our reach from local to statewide, allowing me to present at prestigious events such as the Louisiana Energy Symposium, the LA Water Conference, Louisiana Academy of Sciences, and the Kenner Mayor's Office. I've also leveraged the Tulane Alumni Network to establish new connections in cities where I work, continually expanding the network. So the Tulane Network has been pivotal to my success, enabling me to transform my passion for independence, helping others, and technological innovation into a profitable venture. We can go to this next one. Wonderful. So this is essentially the step-by-step guide on how you can take your passion and turn it into profit. So step number one, you have to identify your passion. And if you're not sure where to start, you want to start by eliminating. You list what you're not interested in or what doesn't excite you. And this process really helps narrow down your true interests. Explore and experiment. You want to engage in different activities related to areas you're curious about. Pay attention to what energizes you. Number two, focus on providing value. This customer-centric approach is the backbone of every company that I've started. You need to understand the needs and problems of your potential customers and then tailor your product or service to solve those issues effectively. Money is merely a measuring stick for how much you're helping others. When you're having continuous improvement, you're seeking feedback from early users and continuously refining your offer based on whatever feedback those early users are saying. Number three, build and leverage your community. Engage with alumni. You want to utilize platforms like LinkedIn to connect with alumni. Personalize that connection requests and messages to increase engagement. You can join relevant groups. Platforms like Facebook and other industry-specific forums are great for connecting with like-minded individuals and potential mentors. Attending networking events is pretty important as well. They can both be virtual or in person, and they can be valuable for making these connections. It's recommended that you prepare some sort of elevator pitch about your passion project, and of course, connect with Gold Crew and the Tulane Alumni Association. 4, utilize specific resources. So within those alumni networks, I'd really recommend going to Facebook and looking at Tulane Alumni Association specific Facebook groups per location. I know there's a Tulane Alumni Association of Philadelphia. When I was doing work out in Los Angeles, I just looked up to UAA of Los Angeles, and I was getting connected to different people. And it's allowing me to have friends and different alumni in every city so I could, give my pitch, give my spiel, and see what type of recommendations they would have. These Facebook groups have been absolute gold mines for advice, partnerships, and finding your first customers. Industry associations. You can join associations related to your field, and they often offer resources, training, and networking opportunities as well, let alone getting into establishing credibility. Establishing credibility was pretty important in this, and it really takes an effect when you're doing something brand new. The drone company was a little unheard of. So if you kind of mess anything up out the gate, that's going to put a big dampen on the success that we could have had. So it was very important to establish credibility. So whether that's going through certifications and courses to make sure that you have the industry specific certifications, that's definitely where you need to start. But after that, you need to start by building a really strong online presence. So utilizing social media, professional networking sites, and personal websites to showcase your passion, your skills, and your accomplishments, and engage with your network and industry groups to increase your visibility. When you're building a portfolio, you want to showcase your best work. For services, you can consider case studies or testimonials, and for products, you want to include high quality images or demos. Social proof is extremely valuable. You want to collect these testimonials and reviews from these early users and provide word of mouth. Positive word of mouth is even more powerful for building trust. And our last one, number 6, will be avoiding potential pitfalls. Pitfalls, one of the first ones that I saw from the beginning was overcommitting. You need to be extremely realistic about what you can deliver to avoid burnout and damaging your reputation. Ignoring legalities, you want to ensure that you understand any legal requirements for your business, including licenses, taxes, and trademarks. And neglecting finances. You got to keep track of your income and expenses. Consider consulting with a financial advisor to best set up the structure for your goals for your business. When you're setting up these goals for your business, it's important to keep them measurable. Some examples would be your first sale or contract. Aim to secure that first customer or client within a specific time frame. Example, 3 months. A way to measure some goals for customer feedback would be collecting feedback from the first 10 customers to identify areas for improvement. On network growth, you can set a goal for expanding your network. Let's say adding 50 new contacts within your field in the next 6 months. And for skill enhancement, you can identify and complete at least one new course or certification every quarter to continually improve your offering. By following these 6 steps and keeping focused on your goals, you can successfully turn your passion into a profitable venture. But remember that persistence and adaptability are key to overcoming the challenges along the way. So this next slide is if you're still at step 1, and that's totally okay if you're still identifying your passion. That's the really hard part. A lot of people ask me, oh, Erik, you must be so passionate about cleaning buildings. And while I love cleaning buildings and I love what I do, I'm most passionate about the autonomy, the independence, using tech, helping people, and, seeing the look on everyone's faces when we're bringing this new tech out there. It's all those things that are combined that I'm passionate about. It's not necessarily the role that I'm doing. So if you're still at step 1, you're trying to figure out your passion, that's okay. There are people here who want to help you, and you can look to your left, you can look to your right, you can turn to, your friends, your professors in the Tulane Network. They are here to help, and I've seen that all throughout my time of working with them. So if you're looking at whatever options you have on table, choose the one that's most exciting. Choose the one that makes your heart beat a little bit faster and go with that one. Because if you're truly passionate about something, you can work 16 hours a day on it and you never get bored. Step 2 is you want to act on that to the best of your ability, and you want to act with integrity. And step 3 is while you're acting to your best of your ability with full integrity, you have no assumption of how the outcome ought to be. You're just going with a positive outlook to help as many people as you can. You're not going for money. You're going to help others. And then I can promise you That step one will turn into step two, to step three, four, five, and six, and you will have a very successful company. Just circling back to the recap of that entire web and how all of those things kind of play together. I stumbled into this and I didn't have a plan, but I started figuring out what I did not like, and then it pushed me towards what I did like. I started right in the middle with the Tulane, and I went over to the left and I was playing lacrosse, which I loved. And then I saw an opportunity that seemed exciting to go coach, and that took me to another stage to go run a nonprofit. Uh, I went down to Tulane Classifieds, which led me to a bunch of different steps, and it ended up starting a moving company. Went to the right, and I was talking and reconnecting with one of my former professors, Professor Gary, and that led me to a multitude of conferences and speaking at incredible events. And I felt a little bit lost. So I reached out to my friend Frederick Bell, who connected me further to the Tulane Alumni Association, which connected me with Gold Crew and showed me the power of using these Facebook groups. It's okay if you're lost, and nobody has the plan all planned out when they start, and that's okay. You just got to dive in and do it with full passion. Thank you so much for the Tulane Alumni Association for the privilege to present, to my professors for the education and the resources that they offered, to my community for accepting me with open arms, and to my parents for their constant support and belief in me. And that's all I got. We can go straight into a Q&A, which will be the next slide. And I'm here to answer any questions. Again, I'm sorry about those technical difficulties in the beginning, but Nina is a superstar and she took over. So thank you for that.
You got it. You got it.
Erik, this has been great. The first question that I have for you while people are still thinking about theirs, what's next? What's next for you?
Oh my goodness. What's next is most likely a lot more pivots. I would love to have an opportunity to teach young entrepreneurs. If there was an open role at Tulane University, I'd love to teach a class on entrepreneurialism or getting drones in people's hands. I think drones are an incredible new trade that is kind of entering into the U.S. environment, and drones have been around for the past 10 years, but it's really solidifying itself as a job. So the next steps would be either impacting high schoolers or college kids to getting drones in their hands so they can see there are a lot of other career options available other than the traditional ones that you're seeing.
Nice. I love that. We have one question. You're getting a ton of great feedback too. People are really enjoying the presentation. They're saying, thank you, great presentation, great story. So I just want to make sure you know that. So the question is, how do you find relevant alumni in your field?
That's fantastic. So it depends what you're looking for. And I think that was from Charlie. So thanks for that question. When you're looking for relevant alumni, you need to first think about what you're looking for. Are you looking for a mentor or are you looking for a client? If you're looking for a client, you need to think about the pain points and then of whatever you're solving. And then you can pretty much go onto LinkedIn and look at people in that industry. So for me, that would be looking at people with large buildings, whether that is hotels or hospitals. And I started looking madly all around the US, hours and hours and hours. And I would see anyone who had a connection with Tulane. And then I would go and I would DM them, and maybe 1 out of every 5 would respond, and we would have some pretty significant connections. So if you're looking at that side, that's definitely where I went. And then I was also using LinkedIn on the flip side for Tulane. So it's kind of silly. I'm from South Philadelphia, and we have this convenience store by us called Wawa. I'm extremely passionate about Wawa. If anyone knows me, I love Wawa. And I was looking on the Wawa corporate LinkedIn, and I saw that there was a connection from Tulane. So I clicked on it, and we became connected, and it was one of the board advisors. So her and I started chatting very early on into this relationship, into this experience. And even though there was no direct correlation, it was really great advice just hearing from a business leader who also went from Tulane. So realistically, LinkedIn has been extremely powerful for that.
This is a bit of a granular question, but I get it all the time from alums that I coach. when you were reaching out and when you reach out to people, what do you say to get in that first message? Like, what are some tips on sending that first message with networking?
Yeah, I could probably said, pretty sure for the Wawa when I said, hey, I really like Wawa, and I also went to Tulane. I'm really curious about hearing your experience through the business world. Do you have time to set up a video call? And she responded within a few hours and said, yeah, the worst thing people can say is no. And then you're just in the same spot that you're in. And then you just go chat up someone else. And I'm sure if you chat up 100 people, you're going to get at least 20 responses. So don't give up on that. If someone, doesn't respond to your message, it doesn't mean they don't like you. Probably means that they're successful in whatever they're doing and they're busy. But just pretty much be extremely honest. Don't try to put on some weird sales pitch, some weird facade. Nobody really wants to have that at them. Just ask them questions of why you genuinely want to talk to them. Hi, you've been in this business for years, and I would really like to hear your experience. I don't get to talk to people who are, in the field for that long, but we're Tulane alumni. Would you have time to chat? Most likely they'll say yes. They're pretty nice people who went to Tulane.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have another question. Excuse me. So the question, it's if you have a passion but limited monetary resources to get a business started, how do you recommend pursuing this passion, or do you think you should wait until you have a strong fund to back the venture? Also, where did you find resources to educate yourself on what kind of business to form, LLC, partnership, etc.?
All right, that question caused me to take a sip of water because I've got a lot to say about that. When it comes to starting a business without funds, that's exactly what I did. And I would not necessarily recommend that if it is a capital intensive business. If it is something that involves having inventory or further capital, I would not recommend going the way that I did it. The way that I did it, I was sleeping on my friend's couch for over 130 days. I was sleeping in I had a rental car because my truck was too old to make the drive from Philly down to here. So I was sleeping in the rental car, and it wasn't necessarily the best environment. I see a lot of friends on this call today who let me sleep on their couch during the time while I was trying to set up this business, and I extremely grateful for those opportunities. But I wouldn't recommend going that way. I'd always say if you could have a backbone of at least $50,000 to start, great. But if you do decide to go for it, you got to go all the way for it, and you got to put all your time into it, and you got to expect that you're not going to be making money for a lot of your time. Going from working hourly and getting paid for every hour to working for yourself, you realize that, for the first probably 1,000 hours, you are not making minimum wage. You're making much less than that, if you're making anything at all. I know my first 1,000 hours are most likely for free. So just be prepared. If you don't have any capital to start, and you have a free place to live and you have some pretty low expenses, go for it. That's a great time to do it. But if you're paying $4,000 or $5,000 a month and you're expecting to just go start a business that's profiting off right away, and you don't have any bankroll, that would be a little bit risky. In terms about LLP and LLC and how to file for that, YouTube is really it'll teach you a lot of things. And also got a lot of really cool friends who were either accounting majors or finance majors, and I was using my Tulane network on that. You can again call professors and ask them their opinions, but I would always do your preliminary research using YouTube, using Google, and then you can go into those conversations more informed and really solidify how you're doing your business.
I would also add in with, especially in Louisiana, there's a small business association that will help. And so wherever you are, there might be some small business associations that can also kind of help walk you through those first few steps. That's a great question. I know you've got your website and your phone number and email. Is there a preferred method that people can get in touch with you in terms of wanting to follow up, network, more questions?
Email is wonderful. if you guys have a mid-rise building, I'd love to clean that as well. If you need advice on any entrepreneurial ventures, I'm also here to chat whenever you like. Email right at the bottom is the easiest way to get in contact with me.
Awesome. Well, Erik, thank you for your time today. Again, you're getting great feedback in the chat. Everyone is really enjoying everything that you've taught today. Do you want to just close this out?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for the opportunity to present in front of all of y'all. This is an accurate representation of what I was just chatting about, utilizing the Tulane Network to the fullest ability. I typically wouldn't be able to get in front of all of y'all so easily and so incredibly, but I got some really awesome help from the Tulane Alumni Association. Nina and Sarah, I really appreciate your help on everything here. And thank you everyone who showed up as well to hear me ramble for 30 minutes. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the Wave do this football season.
Awesome. Thank you, Erik. We'll be in everyone's inbox with follow-up links. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, all.